FC26 has been out for around 2 weeks now, and it's had its first post-game update, and I've been diving into career mode for the last few weeks. Around 35 hours I've put in to the game. EA promised big changes this year, but have they actually delivered, or is this FC25 with a new logo? Let's find out. Today I'll break down what's new, what's still broken, and if this is worth your money, or if you should wait for a discount. And judging by last year, it might not be too far away. Last Black Friday, it was 60% off. A few things before we start this video. If you guys do like career mode, why not subscribe to the channel? We are closing in on 10,000 subscribers. Also, I'm not being paid by EA to say anything about this video. EA and me are not friends. Could you imagine them working with somebody who makes video titles like this? Probably not. However, there's a link in the description down below where you guys can get EAFC for a discount. If you guys do use that link, I will get a small affiliate commission link as well. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So, what's actually new this year? On paper, and in the deep dive, EA added a bunch of new stuff. The Manager Live is here, with challenges and rewards. The Manager Market is new too, Deep Simulation, and this new authentic versus competitive gameplay system. Sounds great on paper, right? Well, let's take a closer look. The main feature this year that EA have added is a challenge-based version of career mode. It's basically a live version of career mode, mirroring real-life events that you guys can play in the game. It offers small objectives like win 5 matches in your league, spend $20 million on transfers, win a tournament, and start with a 20-point deduction and avoid relegation. Now, on paper, these all sound really cool and really exciting. However, the challenges are very generic. There's nothing creative like club-specific rebuilds or regional signings. It's all a bit generic, and the rewards are lazy and recycled. For example, the same PSG kit will appear in several challenges as a reward. So, the concept has potential, but right now it's a bit repetitive, shallow, and unoriginal, which, to be honest, sort of sums up EA as a whole. As we all know, EA and career mode don't really go hand in hand. This is a prime example of that. If you do stick with original mode, the classic career mode that we all know and love, it's almost identical to FC25. You pick a club, you pick your manager, start the season, and yeah, it's pretty much basically the same flow as the last few seasons. Manager Market is here now, where you can apply for jobs and track other managers. That's a really solid addition. That being said, the managers that replace real life managers are NPCs, so you don't really get real managers replacing real managers, like for example Graham Potter or Zidane, or even somebody like Allegri going to somewhere like Manchester United. They're all really generic names, mainly because of licensing issues, which I understand why that is the case, but it does take the realism out just a little bit. But if you're looking for features like training, scouting, and development plans, they're all pretty much untouched and identical to the last few years. That's not usually a bad thing. I think they work fairly well. The training system, I think, does the job. The scouting system, I don't really use, I can't lie to you. So I always tend to scout and search for my own players myself, so I can't really tell you on that. And development plans, I think, work fairly simple as well. Youth Scout is still the same as previous years with the Rush tournament. It's a bit half-baked, and it's a bit undercooked, which pretty much sums up career mode as a whole, which I'm sure you guys are fully aware. The menus and UI are copy and pasted. The social feed looks better, but it's still full of really weird emojis. There's also a bug when it comes to the social feed. When you guys sim a game, you can often see the result or a spoiler on a social feed before the game's actually finished. So if you guys can see the example here, I've simmed a game and you can see who won the game and the man of the match result on the right hand side before the game's actually finished, which does take you out of the immersion of simulating the games, and it's very annoying when it comes to finding out your results. Ultimately, I don't think new UI and menus are needed every single year. The colour scheme looks really cool, and the ability to quick move onto menus using the LT trigger is really useful too. Getting around works fairly well as well. The settings you guys can change before making a career mode are really good this year. For example, energetic events, point deductions, and even things like turning on instant scouting, no sackings, and of course the financial takeover are still here this year. I think they're really cool. It makes every single career mode that you guys do this year a bit different in terms of what the challenges are and how you guys want to make it realistic or vice versa. So yeah, for me, the menus work really well. That being said, the new unexpected events don't seem to trigger at all. I left them on normal for my first Wolf save, and they only really had one in the entire season, and that was a family issue with a winger who left for about a week or so. So nothing really too major there. Point deductions are also a really cool feature too, but again, they only added in preset amounts, so between 3, 5, 10, and 20. So you can't have like a 7-point deduction or a 12-point deduction, nothing like that. When the game first came out, the Tubbs bench was only 7 players, but post update is now back to the 9 players that you can see on the bench, which I think is really cool. That being said, the league tables are also improved too. You can now view past season stats, scout players directly from standings, and you can also see more data, which I think is really cool. That being said, there are some missing data like previous season appearances, which suggest incomplete integration from EA. Not surprising, as you guys are fully aware. The players also had a big overall, well, according to EA anyway, now got a choice between authentic and competitive gameplay. So authentic is slower, more realistic, but the AI is far too easy. I'm not very good at FIFA, I can't lie to you. I was very good back in the day, but nowadays I tend to sort of play on legendary or sort of ultimate difficulty and tend to struggle, I can't lie to you. But I found authentic really, really easy to play against. That being said, competitive is far more faster, it's tougher, and more fun to play in my personal opinion. I guess it all depends on what you guys want from a career mode. Do you want realism, or do you want something more fun and arcadey? It's all down to you. And also sliders that you guys can use and adjust in the game settings to make the game feel faster. What I'll do is leave a link in the description with a Google Drive document that outlines the sliders for each setting that you guys might find useful for your career mode to make it more realistic and help you make the game more fun. Overall, the gameplay is smoother and there's more tactical outline, but single-player AI hasn't kept up. It's all a bit ropey, it's all a bit half-baked, it's all a bit undercooked, which again sums up career mode this year for me. The match state and presentation have also been enhanced to increase visuals. You can now get new camera angles. The pre-match cutscenes have also been improved too, and goal score pop-ups have also been changed. Players now show individual animations during lineups, and there's also some Google Match intros Premier League teams, which I think makes it look really, really cool. And a big feature for me is you can now turn off hypermotion POV replays, which I think looked a bit half-baked and a bit half-cooked. So again, a really good positive that. There are so many bugs and visual glitches that drive me absolutely insane. I'm sure consoles have had issues as well, judging by the Reddit comments that I've seen as well. But overall, it's not too bad. So what works and what does not work? Here's a pros and cons list that I think you guys might find useful when it comes to finding out whether you want to buy the game or not. The pros: the game feels okay to play. It's not too buggy and it's not too glitchy either. The post update after the release has helped massively. The manager market adds realism too. It's not quite there as what I'd like to see, like FM for example, but it is a nice addition to have in the game. The stats and simulation is also very helpful too, means you can have more access to data and of course scout players in a better scenario. The visuals and presentation are also really cool. Of course, I licensed teams, licensed kits, licensed leagues as well when it comes to broadcasters too. The cons are also there too. The live challenges I thought were supposed to be a really cool feature. They're a bit repetitive and they're a bit basic as well. The Olympic events don't happen as often as I'd like them to do. Maybe they can change that in another update or two, but let's see how that goes. The area difficulty is of course imbalanced and it makes the game either far too easy or far too difficult. It's difficult to find the right tailored option for you. And finally, there's not many real innovations when it comes to changing the game or the formula or how the game actually runs. Essentially, it's SU25 with a brand new coat of paint. A few other bits worth noting as well. The season icons that you guys unlock via playing Foot Champs, Ultimate Team and that kind of stuff require a new save every single time you unlock them to access. Feels a bit short-sighted when it comes to making longer saves, which often last weeks or even months, depending on how often you play the game. The carryovers are still pretty weak. The rush youth integration is messy. The training plans feel dull, and the player negotiations are actually bugged this year, which is not ideal. Another big part worth mentioning is the contract negotiations overhaul has been a feature that you'll either love or hate. Players now have to message you directly before you can renew contract, which means players can be sold behind your backs during its simulations. This is because there's no actual notifications that appear for messages. You can only manually check your inbox yourself, which by the time you do, you may miss out on the conversation and then not be able to negotiate with the players. This makes it extremely tedious, and for me, it's not a very good change. It means you can often end up selling players you don't want to sell, or end up losing them on a free transfer depending on how the game plays out. Not cool, not good. Cutscenes and player signings are still the same since FIFA 22, which you'll either love or hate. It means the game very repetitive, and the UI and text choice during these cutscenes have changed slightly too, so you can't actually see what you're pressing half the time, which for newcomers could be a challenge. And also the wage budget is now missing from negotiations too, which I'm not really sure why that is. Maybe they've put it into one big fee. I'm not too certain. It's a bit ropey. So the final verdict: FC 26 Career Mode is fun, but it's not fresh. The core gameplay is smooth. The mode itself is basically FC25 with a new menu and some half-baked ideas. If you loved FC25, you'll still have a great time on this year's game. But if you wanted a bigger leap forward, like FM for example, this year with FM26 coming out, this is not the game for you. If you're buying the game slowly for Career Mode, I would personally wait for a discount, or at least trial the game out on EA Play before you decide to fork out £60 or more for the final product. That's it for my FC26 Career Mode review. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the game. Have you run into any bugs? I'm still enjoying Career Mode this year, and if you guys find this useful, do of course drop a like and subscribe. We're posting more FC26 experiments and rebuilds this year very soon.